April of 2026 may seem very far away, but there are some new regulations concerning accessibility that are going into effect at that time, and it's closer than you think. For libraries with a population of 50,000 or more patrons, there are some big changes you need to make right now to your marketing. And quite frankly, I don't see enough libraries talking about this or implementing changes ahead of time. So I wanted to discuss why it's important, not just for patrons who need those accessibility treatments, but for all of your library marketing. That's ahead in this episode of the Library Marketing Show. Hi, I'm Angela Hursh from the blog superlibrarymarketing.com. Head over there and look for the Library Marketing Show tab so you can nominate a library for Kudos. I love to give a shout out to libraries for some kind of library marketing work, and I need Kudos nominations. Speaking of Kudos, we'll begin today giving a shout out to the North Little Rock Public Library. I'm just going to put a link to this reel down below. I'm not really sure how to describe it. It was for National Library Card Sign-Up Month. There are a lot of formulas that we can follow when we're creating reels or other short form content to promote a program that big, and this one broke the mold. You just have to watch it to understand. Do it and let me know what you think down below. Great job, North Little Rock Public Library. All right, let's get into today's topic, which is those accessibility requirements that are coming in April for U.S. libraries with a population above 50,000 patrons. What does this mean for your library marketing, and how can you approach this so that you're ready by the time April comes around? The requirements are something called the WCAG 2.2. I'm going to put a link to it down below. Basically, there are some very big changes that we need to be making that make our digital products more accessible. And here's how we're going to kind of work through that process and be ready by April. There are a lot of tasks that you're going to need to do before April that are going to take time. Things like auditing your website and your catalog, going through and updating all of the PDFs that are available on your library's website, updating your event pages and your mobile apps to make sure that they're accessible, and training all of the staff who do anything with library promotions, but especially digital promotions like social media and email. They need to know to add alt text to images, how to check color contrast, and they have to understand something called keyboard navigation, which is like headers and having things in the correct order so that screen readers can read them and make sense for visually impaired patrons. Okay, so here's the plan to tackle. Number one, if you haven't learned about what is going to be required of you, there's lots of videos online on YouTube. I also interviewed Laura Solomon, who is an accessibility expert, a few months ago. I will put a link to that article down below. Read what she has to say about getting started on this process. Once you have gotten yourself up to date with what is required, the next thing you're going to do is audit your emails and your web pages and I know some libraries have like a lot of landing pages on their website. You're going to want to focus on the high traffic patron sites. So maybe that's your catalog or your calendar, or maybe there are other landing pages on your website where folks in your community go quite often to get information. Those are going to be the ones you focus on first, and you're going to work to make those digitally accessible. Now, one of the biggest things that I see libraries do in email and on social media is create flyers and then just kind of pop them in as an image in their email or share them as an image on social media. And your employees and your fellow staff members are going to need to know that if they do that, they have to add alt text to that image. So in other words, they need to like say the things that are in the flyer again in the alt text. I see a lot of libraries also still not looking at color contrast. I'm seeing a lot of very dark blue or red or glowing green text in some emails, or very small text in an email. Those things are going to need to change. And quite frankly, I think changing those things now is better than changing them in April, because the one lesson I learned about accessibility is that it makes for better design for everyone, even those who aren't using screen readers. So that's my argument for starting this process right now. So that's just a very basic plan to get you started. I'm curious where your library is on your digital accessibility journey. Can you share what you have done so far to improve accessibility below? I'm really curious, and I know other viewers and readers of the blog will be wanting to know what libraries are doing. So let's get a conversation started down in the comments. And that's it for this episode of the Library Marketing Show. But my channel is full of other tips for library marketing. If you would like to learn more, head to this next video. I'll see you there.